it's Jessii Vee, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite movies of all time. We're going to be talking about Coraline, and this movie really scared me as a child. I remember watching this movie when I was very young and being both excited but terrified. There's something about this movie that just makes you want to watch it over and over again because of it just has such an interesting vibe. It's so hard to explain unless you've seen it. I really hope that most of you watching this have seen it. If you have not, please just pause this video right here. Keep the tab open. Go watch Coraline. I think it's on Netflix. If not, go buy it. And then come back here and watch this video. But today we're not going to be talking about what is wrong with the film because there's nothing wrong with the film. Sorry, I just got a little bit too excited there. No, but honestly, there's not a lot that I could think of that's wrong with the film, if you will. So we're gonna be talking about some of the things in the film that were hidden that are so important. There are so many different symbols and items in the film that you must have missed because until I researched for this video, I missed like, I don't know, 80% of these things that I'm about to talk about. So get ready because if you have seen Coraline and love it just as much as I do, you're gonna enjoy this video. But before I get started, I just want to remind you once again that if you have not entered to win this backdrop behind me, you only have one more week because this is the last week that I'm gonna have this backdrop behind me and then I am switching it out. So probably by the beginning of next week, I will be announcing the winner. So if you would like to win this backdrop, all you have to do is be subscribed to my channel, have your notification bell on, and then you have to be subscribed to my other channel called Vee Vlogs. The link is down below in the description. And then head over to the video where I'm showing my art portfolio and comment your favorite piece from that art portfolio. So it's like 3 steps and then you're entered and you could be a winner next week. So finally for this video, Ty is not using my laptop to edit, so I'm able to have a bigger screen to look at all of my research on, which is like super exciting for me. So just before I get into the points that I want to cover, while I was researching for Coraline, I found this really weird conspiracy theory that I don't fully understand. So if you guys get it, please comment down below what it means. But there are so many different articles saying that Pennywise and the other mother from Coraline are like the same being, if you will. They're not the same person, but they're the same species of like creature. Because you know how they're both, I think, spiders? Apparently they're from like the same universe and they're the same kind of creature, which I find like really strange because like to me, Pennywise is a clown and the other mother is like a totally different thing. But it was saying how they both like entice children and kind of lure them in and then they try to like eat them. So I found that really intriguing. If you guys know more about that conspiracy, please comment it down below because I'm so intrigued by that, but I'm also like very confused. Okay, so the first symbol in this film that we're gonna talk about is the face on the dollar bill. So well-known director Henry Selick is best known for James and the Giant Peach and The Nightmare Before Christmas. And he also spent quite a long time working on the film Coraline. So what's cool is that the dollar bill that is given as a bad tip to one of the movers has Selick's face on the dollar bill, which you can see. And it says that before the audience even sees the real Coraline, they're seeing the director of the film without even realizing it, which is super cool because as a kid watching this film, you just see a face on a dollar bill, but you don't really take in like who it is. I feel like in a child's mind, you don't really care about those details too much, but it's really cool because it's the director. I feel like after you watch my video and you find out all of these different symbols, you guys should go watch Coraline and see if you can find the parts that I'm talking about because I always do that after I make these videos. The next point is the message in a song. The song that the other father sings to Coraline when she first meets him has a purpose. It's a warning sign as to what is about to happen. Now, the other father almost freaked me out more than the other mother did. There's just something so off about him. I'm pretty sure the other father is actually just made out of a pumpkin. Am I correct? So that's why he's so like off and goofy. It's because he's not a real human. He's an object that the other mother turned into a father, you know what I mean? So he always really freaked me out. And you also learn that he's kind of one of the good guys that the other mother creates. So he's secretly trying to warn Coraline. So we're gonna go through what his lyrics say. It says, making up a song about Coraline. She's a peach, she's a doll, she's a pal of mine. She's as cute as a button in the eyes of everyone who's ever laid their eyes on Coraline. When she comes around exploring, boring, Mom and I will never make it boring. Our eyes will be on Coraline. So maybe when you've watched this movie, you think, hey, it's just a charming, fun song. But when you actually listen to the lyrics, he's warning Coraline about the button eyes. And I'll admit, I never caught that when I was listening to that song, so that's really interesting. The next point is the bug wallpaper, which I also find so fascinating because I never caught this. Like, I never noticed this at all. Everything in Coraline's real world is supposed to look boring and lackluster because it's intended to be the opposite to the world that the other mother creates. So basically everything in Coraline's normal life is supposed to be gray and boring and dull, and that is what entices Coraline to enjoy and like the other mother's world, because her world is colorful, there's music, there's food. So the film is trying to make them opposites, you know what I mean? There are multiple subtle hints in the real world that foreshadow what's going to end up happening during the second half of the movie in the Beldams world. One of those details includes the wallpaper that's in the living room of Coraline's home. Have you ever thought of looking at the wallpaper? Because I didn't until now. The wallpaper in the living room is an ugly blue-gray color that looks to have some throwaway pattern on it. But if you look closely at what that pattern is, it's actually a bug print pattern. And it can be difficult to see because the bugs are very, very faint, so you have to really look to see them. But it's intended to foreshadow the other mother's desire for insects. If you think about it, the other mother never eats the meals she has with Coraline. The only time she eats is when she's able to eat bugs. And as you saw, that only happens later on in the movie when she shows Coraline her real self, which is like a spider. So the fact that Coraline's wallpaper has these very faint bug patterns all over it is so creepy, and next time I watch the movie, I'm definitely gonna look out for that. The next point that you may never have thought about is about the soundtrack of the movie. When you listen to the songs from the soundtrack, it kind of sounds like it's a beautiful but kind of eerie choir of children singing. And a lot of people have wondered if maybe it's a French choir because the words sound very French if you're not listening to it like in detail. What sounds like a foreign language is in fact complete gibberish. And I actually found out about this quite a while ago. I don't know if I was watching Coraline's special features or maybe a YouTube video, but it is a choir of children and people singing, but they're just singing gibberish. It's a totally made up language just for the film, which I find is really cool and almost makes the film even that more like eerie, you know what I mean? The next thing we're gonna talk about is Mr. Bobinski's medal. Even while wearing a dirty tank top, Mr. Bobinski still has his medal all shiny and pinned to his chest. It's a medal given to the nuclear cleanup team after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986. His medal even says participant in the cleanup campaign and has an image of a drop of blood on it, and the drop has 3 lines, each depicting a different level of radiation. This is like so deep, and I feel like when you watch this as a kid, and even some adults may not have known that, but like researching it, like what? That is so deep for a child's film. Due to being exposed to radiation for such a long time during the cleanup, this could explain his blue color and his desire for eating raw beets. So it's trying to say that because he was exposed to so much radiation, that's kind of why he's a little bit bonkers, just a little bit, and why he's like blue. Because I did wonder that as a kid. I was like, why is this guy such a strange color? But it's because he has a lot of history. The next point is the button key, which I feel like is kind of an obvious symbol. After Coraline tells her parents about the other mother and the other father, her mother locks the door and very badly hides the key. So Coraline finds the key hanging above the doorway in the kitchen, and there's a button shape on the end of the key, as we all see, and that is kind of foreshadowing the other mother's world. So I feel like this symbol is maybe the one that everyone would already know. The key opens the portal door that leads to a life of button eyes. And I kind of want to know from all of you guys, if you found this key, would you open the door in general? Because I feel like I definitely would. And once you saw that tunnel, would you crawl through? Would you tell your parents? Like, what would you do in Coraline's situation? I'm honestly genuinely interested, because some of my friends that I've asked this to, they were like, oh, there's no way I would go through. But I feel like if it was me, I'd probably wake up my sister and we'd both go. Like, I feel like that's the way I would do it. And then I would tell my parents. Like, I wouldn't wouldn't keep the secret, but I would go first and then tell my mom and dad, you know what I mean? The next point is the lightning hand, which I didn't see when I first watched the movie, but I definitely saw like the second or third time I watched it. So I've already known about this before I made this video, but maybe you guys haven't. So when Coraline is visiting her other mother, the mother creates this thunderstorm, and while Coraline is standing by the window, you can see that outside lightning strikes, and when the lightning happens, it's in the shape of the other mother's hand. There's probably a picture I can show you guys, but it's so creepy and it happens in like a split second, so you really have to be paying attention to see that hand come down. But that's also kind of like another way of foreshadowing that the other mother is very bad and Coraline does not know yet at that point in the film. And it says this image also appears in the tree branches in Beldam's world when the black cat is speaking to Coraline for the first time. I don't think I ever noticed a hand in the tree branches, so that's really interesting as well. The next part we're going to talk about is the framed silhouettes, which I never noticed. It makes me so frustrated reading some of these because I've seen Coraline like, gosh, 50 times and I never noticed a lot of this stuff, and I thought I was like a pro at the whole Coraline movie. So the ghost children in the house don't make an appearance until closer to the end of the movie. You know, the part where the beldam throws Coraline behind the mirror and then she meets them. That scene was so scary to me as a child, by the way. But hints of the ghost children are actually scattered around the house before Coraline even meets them. The silhouettes of the children appear on the wall in the dining room in the other world. The three silhouettes are there for anyone to view, which is sort of messed up and makes the beldam even more creepy because not only did she eat away the lives of these children, but she has them displayed on the wall. Why? The next point is so weird to me, and I don't think I ever noticed this either, but it's the unexplained ketchup stain on Coraline's dad's shirt. That sounded like a tongue twister. One of the most memorable lines in Coraline comes when Mel offers Coraline lunch and she says, "How do you feel about a mustard ketchup salsa wrap for lunch?" Which, ew, sounds disgusting, and that's why it's one of the most like known lines of the film. But ketchup comes back into play when Coraline's father, Charlie, is putting her to bed. A lot of viewers never saw that on his shirt there was this huge red ketchup stain, and what's even weirder is that the film never explains how it got there. It's just there and then we just forget about it. It's so strange. Anyways though, that is all I'm gonna talk about today. Let me know if you knew any of these facts or if there are any that I haven't covered, but I'm definitely so excited to rewatch this film and like see everything I just talked about. But yeah, let me know what other movies you want me to cover. I really enjoy making this series, and yeah, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day and I will see you in my next video. Bye!